I've been doing just a lot of like personal stuff, like just really been trying to stay off social media. I've been working out, losing weight, as you may have mentioned, or as you did mention. Yeah, so just kind of been working on me and taking some steps back, and it's been in good hands with the crew, the Andrews and Alex and Britt and everybody. So, what's up, Britt? We got Ghana in the house. We've got the Caribbean in the house, California. Awesome. Is PMPT enough, the course enough to pass the exam? Yes. That is the intent of all of our courses. You should never have to go to an outside resource or an outside training course to pass. Not saying that you can't or that it, you know, but I think there's pros and cons, right? Like some people overcomplicate things, and like other curriculum is not the same curriculum. Like if you went and took another training provider's exam materials and then try to apply them to ours, it wouldn't be the same, and vice versa, right? Like so I think that you can overcomplicate or overstudy, and so if it's not taught in the course, it's not going to be on the exam. It's a good way to put it. So if you go like learn new tricks and techniques and tools and all that stuff, and it's something that you didn't learn in the course, you could be overcomplicating. Thanks for all the nice words. Appreciate it. No, this is a great question. Why am I talking so slow? I talk slow because not everybody has English as a first language, so I talk pretty slow, pretty mellow. That way, everybody can understand. If you talk very fast, it loses a lot of people. And as you see, we've got people from all kinds of countries: Senegal checking in, India checking in. Not everybody's first language is English, so Nigeria with love. Look at that. I see some pins coming in. It's been so long. I'm sorry, Britt. Thanks, Britt. Okay. What do we do about information overload? How do we prioritize which trainings to focus on? Good question. Really, you need to build out a roadmap for yourself, and you need to figure out like what is necessary that I have to get through now, and what is not necessary ultimately, right? So let's think about that. Lost my question there. Um, so let's say like I'll give you my example of when I was going through in learning a little bit. I was studying for the OSCP, and so with the OSCP back in the day when I was doing it, you learned a little bit of Linux first, and then you went like immediately into buffer overflows, and then you went into hacking, and it kind of went from there. And I was following the curriculum pretty much step by step. When I got to the buffer overflows part, it was like immediately overwhelmed, information overload, didn't feel comfortable at all. And I had to ask myself like, was was the buffer overflow section absolutely necessary at that time to continue learning? And the answer was no. I didn't want to lose momentum. Like I still had momentum. I had motivation. I wanted to keep going. And so, was it critical to getting to the next step? The answer is no. So I went ahead and just studied ethical hacking, and then went back to the buffer overflow before I ended up doing the exam, and I was fine. So you need to ask yourself, like, hey, is this lesson absolutely critical to moving into the next phase? What do I need to know to get to the next point of where I want to be? And so I just say create a roadmap, and everybody's a little bit different, but that's what helps me. Because the one thing you don't want to do is lose momentum. Uh, this is a loaded question. If you want to build a career in cybersecurity, what should we do? Well, technical side, you want your foundational skills, right? Like I tell everybody, foundational skills are Linux programming, but like not development, just coding. I would say networking and security knowledge is critical. So some scripting, right? Some language like A plus, Net plus, security plus type skills. So those are your five core foundations. And then you build into your own cybersecurity area. Like, where do you want to be? Do you want to be on the blue side, red side, in the middle, GRC? You kind of figure out where you want to go from there. From a like building a career standpoint, there's a lot of soft skill sides of things that we could talk about all day, right? Like you really want to um, overall be a good person. Like, you want to contribute to community. It's a very small community. Like, if you're a jerk, people do take notice of that. You want to network and promote yourself somewhat. Like, having a LinkedIn is good. Having a blog, a resume website or a portfolio, a GitHub, those kinds of things go well for your career. Um, you want to make sure that you try to be the dumbest person in the room, and that I don't know. You want to. There's a lot of things to make a successful career, but overall, I mean, those are really good starting points. Good question. What's new coming to TCM? Yeah, so we've got quite a bit going on, right? We've got uh, we are hiring. So if anybody knows anybody, we are taking applications for a new content creator on the red side. We're also hiring a project manager. I actually just got out of the interview right before coming here. And content wise, we've got our PSAP should be coming out very, very soon. So that's going to be the 201 certification you guys are talking about, right? SOC 201. So it's the professional level SOC certification. And we also we've got an AI course that we're working on that should be coming out this month. And then we're going to be working on new blue team content. And we're going to be working, next course would be the expert level PNPE certification, right? So that will be what we're doing next. Will we do some course about cloud hacking? At some point, it is on the radar. It's not something that we're doing quite yet. Red team certs kind of answered this question. Same with the PMPE. So I would say we were targeting late this year. It's going to be earlier next year now, right? So earlier next year. Let's see. Going through the questions. We're gonna get any Black Friday discounts. We do Black Friday every year. So yes, always. Let's see. Uh yeah, so good question. Are the live trainings gonna offer different course content than the academy content? Yes. Um the live trainings now do that. So, like, I'll give you an example of what I teach. So let's say that we teach the either AD Live, or let's even say the PMPT Accelerated. There is overlap, right? If we're teaching to a certification, there's probably 80% overlap. Uh, what you're getting though is you're getting new content. Like, some of the things that we teach in the PMPT Accelerated would be like certificate attacks, like ADCS. We don't teach that currently in the PMPT anywhere in the curriculum. That would be probably in the PMPE curriculum. Um, we teach different variations of attacks. We teach different tips and tricks. What's working lately. It's more modernized versus what's just in a course, and then you get the instructor feedback. So ultimately, like, when you do live trainings with us, a lot of the live trainings um, are more geared towards people that like that kind of like one to one, not really one to one, but very close to one to one instructor time. Like, you've got the ability to ask a question at any point during any of the days that you're live. You get access to a cohort that's private access to your instructor. So it really depends on how you learn. Like, could you still get a pretty good takeaway from doing on demand content? Absolutely. But if you like live content, or your work pays for it, or whatever it may be, I think it's a great fit. So our feedback overall on the live trainings is really, really positive. Which does remind me, I was asked by our lovely Brit to plug our live trainings. I don't know the dates specifically, but we do have a few lives coming out. We've got got our PMPT accelerated, which does break down in individual live days. So if you're like wanting to just do 80 live, you could do that. You could do the whole cohort. You could do the OSINT portion of it. You could do the web portion of it. That's coming up. And then we've got SOC 201 live training coming up as well. So plenty of live trainings. You can check them out. Maybe Britt will link them in the chat. But overall, there's plenty to go through. Let's see. A lot of questions coming through. I'll be honest. There's a question about Hack 5. Hack 5, I don't want to call Hack 5 tools gimmicky. I think they're good in what they do. A lot of times when you see them in like used in content creation, it's like, oh, watch me plug in this bash bunny and have command execution on a machine. And it's like, when are you going to get an opportunity to really use those? Maybe if you're on like a physical pen test or something like that, right? So I would say if you're like interested in Hack 5 tools, do some research in what you think would be fun to play with and that you could use at home. If you're going and doing physicals, maybe look at that and say, okay, well, maybe what would be most useful for physical. But otherwise, I would just say they're fun, right? They're not like you're not going to use them really in day to day. They're kind of fun to show off, though. I think they're cool. It's just like the application of them is usually in a physical presence. So. This is a great question. You've been stuck in incident response for a decade. How can you better position yourself to move into a red team role, especially when most roles want experience? Yeah, so I am a big believer in experience is experience. Like if you work on the blue side, uh, you will have you'll be easier to cross over to the red and vice versa. Like being a blue teamer first will make you a better red teamer, and being a red teamer first will make you a better blue teamer. Um, Either or. And so when it comes to how do I migrate, the experience that you have on your resume, especially a decade's worth, is great. You've seen some stuff if you've worked 10 years in incident response, and it takes a special person to make it that far, I think, in my opinion. And you've got a lot of incident responses, on call, travel, right? And so it tells me that you've been flexible with your job and all that stuff. So I think it would open a lot of doors for you in terms of like what can you do the red side of things. Going out and getting some red certifications to apply to what you're doing, getting some red training, being able to show that, hey, I've got the blue skill and I've applied it to the red side and what that looks like, I think is really what it looks like. Um, Ultimately, that's what you want. The experience, I think you have the experience. You might not have the red team experience, but you've got blue experience, and to me, I value that equally. So, I would look at somebody with blue experience when I'm evaluating a role. To be honest with you, so to do insights on the current job market, it's all over the place. It's like I don't know. It's a hard market right now. Um, I think it's a mix of things, right? So when we put out job applications, and this is from my experience on the employer side, 95% of the people that apply for the job probably have no business applying for the job. Is nice as I can say that. Like they have no qualifications, don't even meet like the bare minimum, and they just YOLO applications in. So people are I assume, getting overwhelmed having to go through and review applications. So that's why a lot of companies, I think, move to the ATS type systems, so they don't have to sit there and look through 100 plus applications to weed out and find the actual candidates. I think a lot of people are applying to jobs that they're not qualified for, and then they're saying, "Hey, I'm not getting any roles," right? Like, so I think you need to be realistic with that on one side. On the other side, it's becoming more difficult. I think that AI at some point will replace a lot of help desk jobs. And I think that the more technical jobs, right? Like if we're talking red teamer, I don't think AI is replacing a red teamer anytime soon. So the more technical experience that you have, the better off that you're going to be. But ultimately, like it's just a lot of patience there when it comes to IT, especially cyber. Um, it's a kind of a club of like once you're in, you're in. It's a lot easier to get a job. It's finding that first job is difficult. But the market is so right now, and I think there's a wide variety of things for that. Right, you're seeing interesting, like, not to get into economics, but you're seeing like uh, an all-time high in the stock market, right? You're seeing a decreasing value in the dollar, but you're also seeing some signs of like stagflation, where you have the jobs are weakening, and you're seeing a lot of more layoffs due to AI, and so the market is in a squeeze. And so you do want to be, I don't want to say an exceptional candidate, but you want to be a good candidate for the role that you're applying to. So I would expect things to take more time on the application side. I think it is a numbers game as well. If you feel like, hey, I am truly qualified to go get one of these jobs, you may need to get your foot in the door and then kind of pivot from there. Like, do a stepping stone job for your first role and kind of then go from there. I did a stepping stone job for my first role, and it was okay. So, all right, let's see. Good questions though. Oh, this is tough. Right now, I don't know if I have the best advice for internships in America. If you're not American, don't know if you read the news, but there's a lot of complications if you're a foreigner here, including some pay to play with the visas and whatnot. So I don't know where that's going. I don't even know if I can give good advice. I would say if you're looking to be an intern, I would start with interning at one of the big fours in your country or near your country if there's not one. Um, and then I would move on from there, right? Like the easiest way, if you're going to work at a big four, let's just say Deloitte, right? Like get into Deloitte in your country and then apply to move to another country with it. And so I think that would be the better route than just trying immediately to get into the US. If you're here on like a student visa or something else, and then can manage to flip that into like an H-1B or something. But there's a whole system here of like you have to almost win a lottery to get your application approved for as an employer. It's becoming more difficult, right? And then you've got to have a skill set that is not easily found within the US, which pen testing could be, but internship level maybe not. So I would start locally and then try to transition out. So um, yeah, there's a lot of unknowns right now, right? Do do do. The AI revolution. What will it bring in cybersecurity, and how approach cybersecurity in this evolving AI era? I mean, right now we're at AI being very good assistant, and I think that's still going to be for quite a long time. I would say that if you're not comfortable or familiar with AI, you should get familiar with AI. We do have a free course on our free tier, self promotion, right? But I would say, go check out how AI actually works. Like, what is AI doing? Can you answer like the simple questions of like how AI works? How could you set up your own LLM? How can you use AI to your advantage? Really, a lot of things are going to move into efficiency, and how can you efficiently use AI or use AI to increase your efficiency because other people are doing it. And in reality, it's like this is look, AI is no different than anything else in cyber, in my opinion. Okay, it's no different. Like if you think about all the changes that have happened in the last decade in cyber, AI is just one of them. Cyber has always been cat and mouse kind of thing, right? Like I've always said, complacency in cyber is a career killer, and if you're complacent, then you're going to lose your job, right? So same thing. Y- Cybersecurity is for people that love studying, love changes, and love adapting to new things because things change all the time. That is something that you have to be comfortable with. So AI is just the next change. There will be another change in 5 years, I'm sure. Like what is going to be the next thing? We don't know, but you have to keep up with it or you will get left behind. Question on OSINTs. Specializing OSINT is a good one. I, you know, so there are OSINT roles, right? I think that from an OSINT standpoint, the roles are harder to find. But when I say like specialization from any standpoint should be what excites you the most. Could you work in OSINT? Absolutely. There's intelligence roles, there's police roles, there's social engineering type roles, there's all kinds of things, right? If you're really good at OSINT, that can do a lot of things. Like you have opportunities, but they are niche. So you have to imagine that it's going to be a little bit harder to find a specialized role in that area, so it's going to take more time. If it's something that you're passionate about, you feel like you're really good at, and you want to do for a full time career, absolutely go for it. Like you should find a career that you are excited to go into work every day, as opposed to man, I got to go into work today. Right? That's really where it's at. OSINT is one of those more narrower topics, but it doesn't mean that there's not roles out there for it. So if you're interested in it, you should definitely do it. How has my role been at Educate 360? Good question. It's been good. I mean, we're at a year now since acquisition. I do still put hands on keyboard, though it's a little less and less. I still I utilize myself where I'm needed, right? So I'm kind of like we've been spending a lot of the past year just kind of integrating and being able to be like one company as opposed to being multiple companies. Like if you're acquired, you kind of want to integrate and be part of the family. And so we've been doing that. Over the past year, I've done managing. I've gone to school. I've done some pen tests. I Q4 is typically when I whip out my pen testing skills, but Q4, Q1, but I've been doing pen tests. I've done a lot of live training, done some development, wrote some code. Like I just kind of go where I'm needed and help to the benefit of the company. It's been kind of nice. Like I'm not CEO anymore, so for me, it's kind of like I get to take a step back and look and work more on management skills and kind of like what an executive does, which I was doing that before as CEO, right? But it's a different lens now. So I get to actually like work with other executives and people that have been to. I don't know. I get to be, not that I wasn't, but I get to be dumbest person in the room full of executives and learn from them, and that's an experience, right? So it's just it's been a transition, but it's been positive. Let's see. I'm still looking. I've got looks like 13 or so questions pinned, so I'm working. I'm working. Resources for cybersecurity news. I'll answer this really quick. Pick your poison. I get a lot of my news from work or Discord. You could set up your own your own RSS feeds. You can subscribe to things. You could have LinkedIn, social media, Reddit. I mean, there's tons of places to get news. I would just pick a couple places that you find intriguing and go from there. Hey, Axolotl, how you doing, man? You're loving the new stock content? That's great. I'll relay that to Prince. Axolotl's good. He's he's one brain cell. I don't know how else to put it. He's a special guy, but he's still alive and well and needs to get fed today, so I'm sure I'll see him. But otherwise he's happy and as dumb as can be, and that's I think all you ask for with axolotls. Let's see. This is a great question. I could tell you some of the tools that we use. But so I think we're using a tool now called Ghostwriter. You could technically use still write your reports in Word. There are some automated like if you just like look up GitHub and look for automated pen test writing tools. There's a bunch that are out there. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. Like I think PlexTrack is obviously paid, but like very expensive is like the high end of it versus there's some free open source stuff that's out there too. But we're using Ghostwriter currently for ours, and we're pretty happy with it. You got your bachelor's degree, trying to job hunt, recommendations of applying to SOC, pen testing, help desk. Yeah, man. I mean, it just comes down to what you're wanting to do, and like I guess how your process is going. I think it's fine applying to different areas and just kind of seeing what sticks and getting that experience. It's great. Like you cast a wide net, you have more opportunities. I would have a resume geared towards each role. Like if you're applying for help desk, make it a little more help desk related. SOC, same thing. Pen testing, same thing. uh, I would say also that like where you got to be honest with yourself. If you're submitting a resume and you're getting absolutely no calls back on any of these things, no interviews at all, something is wrong with your resume. If you are, especially if you're applying to help desk roles and not getting anything, right? Um, but ultimately, it's where in the process are you failing? Is it on your resume? Are you getting to the interview process? You're not getting through. You need to find out where your point of failure is and then go from there. Good question. So when we purchase certifications, what do we get? So all certifications come with training. So do you get any course to go with it to give the exam, or just the price exam, not course? It's all of it is all inclusive. So you get access to a training material, which I believe is 1 year access, and then you get access to your exam voucher, right? Which I think is currently lifetime. So, but yeah, you get the training and the exam voucher when you buy the exam. Oh, is web application the best way for entry level pen testing position? I would say that might be the hardest way to entry level position. So let me break down how we typically hire pen testers. Uh, Pen testers for us is we start at the junior level. At a junior level, when we interview you, we expect you to have external and internal knowledge and some web knowledge, right? From that standpoint, okay, we when we bring you on, you're pretty much doing external pen testing when you first start, and then as you move up, you're doing internals, and then eventually, as you move up, you're doing web. If you can do web pen tests, we put you at a senior level in our organization. So I would say that like web, yeah, sure. If you want to get a job, learning web is definitely useful. However, it's complicated, right? It's not the easiest thing to learn. An external pen test I can teach a reasonably technical person how to do in a week. I can't say I teach you perfectly well, but I can get you going on that within a week. A web application pen test, you're talking months of training to get to the same point. So what's a good entry level position before junior pen tester? My pathway was help desk to network engineer to pen tester. I see people go SOC analyst route. I've seen people go GRC. I've seen people go right into pen testing. So you kind of just make what your pathway is and what's next to it, right? I kind of covered this already, but what's your best advice for staying motivated to study? Some on-demand courses are 20 hours content, it's hard to stay on top of. Uh, Again, you want to go with things that will keep you motivated. So if you run into a topic and it's like either really boring or it's something that you feel like is not really motivating you to study, ask yourself, can I skip that topic so I can stay motivated? Can I come back to this topic, right? I think ultimately that's the important part. But break it up. Tell yourself, I'm going to study for 1 hour a day. There was these workout videos way back when they were if you know these, they're called Insanity, right? And it's kind of the same concept, but Insanity and P90X, like they were around the same time frame. One of the slogans was just press play, right? Like even if you didn't want to be there that day and work out that day because you knew you had a brutal workout, just hitting play on the video, you're already there. You've already committed to showing up. You just got to get through it. So it's the same thing. Like some days are better than others, but if you can commit, I'm going to do 30 minutes a day. I'm going to do an hour a day. Just hit play and go from there, right? Like you do your 1 hour and move on to the next thing, and you'll build that momentum. Everything's a snowball. What cert do you recommend for a person who works as SOC analyst and want to learn more about pen testing? I would start with the PJPT. PMPT is more jumping into the deep end. Not that you couldn't, but I would start PJPT first and see, hey, do I like this content? Do I like this material? Do I like pen testing? If the answer is yes, then you go from there. What's up, Hacks guy? I haven't seen you in a while either. I look healthy, thank you. How have I been? Good. I mentioned it a little bit at the beginning of the stream, but just kind of been focusing more on me, which you can see physically, but also just taking some steps back and really like trying to focus just on being healthier, better person, all that kind of stuff. From a stress standpoint, that's a good question. I don't know if I'm the best person to answer that question, if I'm being honest. A lot of people in my life tell me that I don't show or exhibit stress. That doesn't mean I don't feel it, right? But I really don't. I don't get stressed maybe as much as the average person. I can handle a pretty heavy workload. And so, but what I do is, if I am feeling stressed, uh, either having somebody to talk to about it, I think is important. Like I talk to my wife about pretty much everything, so somebody to vent to, or even I have got work people that I can call up and say, "Hey, I had this situation at work today," and they can empathize with me because they work at the same place, right? I think taking breaks is important. Focusing on yourself, even like a small walk, helps when you're stressed. Like, there's a lot of little things. You just kind of have to find what works out for you. But overall, like just taking some time away from what's causing you stress before coming back to it can be good. There was a change for unlimited time. Yeah, so there's a change to the amount of time you get with course access on certifications. It's 1 year, and then your follow up question is, if you bought before, does it apply? If you bought before, you're on the unlimited time frame. So nothing to worry about there. We kind of already mentioned this a little bit earlier. Where's TCM headed as a company? We're kind of talked about content, but I can give a broader picture, right? So, from a broader perspective, part of the reason that we went through acquisition and all of that was because we were a bootstrap company, meaning that like we were 100% self funded. Uh, it's one of those things that we had never taken any sort of backing or anything like that, right? Um, about 2 years ago now, Hack the Box started entering into our space, which eventually competition was going to enter in the space. And then Try Hack Me started entering in our space. And the thing about both of them is they took lots and lots and lots of funding, like 50 plus $1 million in funding. And so, in order for us to kind of be able to keep up, that was part of the acquisition plan. It was really to kind of accelerate plans that we're doing, which is one, I think our B2C, which is business to consumer, right, is good. It's more of focusing on B2B and enterprise and getting plans up to date for that. So we have a system pretty close to in place of a platform where we can issue licenses. Managers can see how their trainees are doing, et cetera. You have accountability, accessibility, and so forth. We have labs that are built out and on demand. We've got Kali in the browser. So like there are things coming that will be in enterprise, but will also trickle down to B2C as well. Like at some point, we're going to have a pro tier. So pro tier being that we're going to have basically labs available in our academy courses. So if you don't want to build your own labs, you can have the pro tier and you can do a lab in the browser, and it's more straightforward. So a lot of it's just scaling, and part of scaling is enterprise. To be honest with you, B2C we're doing fine. It's just kind of, hey, how do you get in front of a bigger audience, and that's kind of where we're at right now. Is memorization essential? You will never be able to memorize everything in this industry. Just take good notes, please. I kid you not. I go back to my notes all the time. Every pen test that I do, I always go back to notes. I look up old reports. I look up blogs that I wrote. I've watched videos in the past. Like this is why, if anything else, this is why you should have a blog, right? Like write a blog and use it for yourself. Even nobody reads it. Like if you teach somebody something, it makes it easier for you to retain, even if you're teaching it to nobody in reality. But like having blogs, having good notes, etc., that goes a long way. Is coding language really necessary for an ethical hacker? Yes. So again, you do not have to be a developer in order to be an ethical hacker. You should understand code and how to read it. That's critical. If you go and download something on GitHub, because a lot of times everything that we do, not everything, but a lot of times what we do is open source. So if you're going out to GitHub, you're downloading some exploit that somebody put out there. Can you read through that exploit and know what it's going to do? When we are on a client site, we don't want to run malware or something that could end up being malicious or take down a network, right? We have liability when it comes to what's called negligence and gross negligence. Gross negligence, in my opinion, would be going out and actually downloading something that you don't know how to run or operate and just firing it off on a machine. So being able to read code helps. Being able to script and automate will make your life that much easier. But again, you don't have to be a full-on developer by any means. Like most people aren't, but the more programming knowledge that you have, the better off you'll be. Thoughts on Goad for practicing AD pen testing? I like Goad. We use it. We're currently developing a tool, and this is another project I'm working on. But we're developing a tool, and we use Goad as part of that. I've got an Azure instance of Goad that I spun up, and like it's pretty straightforward. I mean, you can run it locally, you can run it in the cloud. It's not very difficult, and it goes from like some beginner level stuff all the way to some advanced, like you're talking trust abuse and other things like that. But ultimately, I think it's a great tool, and it's continuously updated. I think they just released a newer version of Go not that long ago. So, I think it's great. Have I made anything cool with Bloodhound's Open Graph API? I have not. If I'm being honest with you, I don't know if anybody on the team has, but I haven't personally. All right. Here we go. This is a this is a question. And so look, hey, is age a factor considering in cybersecurity? Do HRs consider age as a factor? If you want me to give you the political answer is that no, HR doesn't consider age as a factor, but because it's illegal to do, right? But people have biases. Okay, people will discriminate on age. People discriminate on race, on gender, on lots of things. And ultimately, what I tell people is like, there's only so much you can do about that, right? Like, there's only so far that's going to get you. However, you don't want to work for somebody that is going to have that bias against you anyway. Like, I wouldn't want to work for an employer that would do that. And there's something like you can't really see me, but I'm covered in tattoos, right? I've been covered in tattoos for years. Um, One of the things is like when I was applying for jobs, yes, I would wear a suit and tie or whatever when I went to the interview, but at work I would show my tattoos. Like that's something that I wanted to work at a place where I could be me as opposed to like I have to cover up and hide everything and I can't be myself kind of place, right? And so it's the same thing as like somebody's discriminating on you against for age, then you don't want to work there anyway. I wish I could tell you in a perfect world it's not a factor, right? But in reality, biases and discrimination do exist. I don't care what age you are. I don't care what race you are. We look at our candidates blindly anyway. Somebody should never, if you've been asked your age in an interview, that's a problem, right? So like somebody should never ask you that. But ultimately, like you just have to find the right employer for you. Uh, Your pen tester having a midlife crisis, thinking if you really want to be offensive, you're thinking to do DFIR, DFIR. What do you think? Again, this comes back to what I said earlier: is that look, you want to do something that excites you, right? When you wake up in the morning, you want to go and be at a job that excites you. You have to ask right now, what is not exciting about your current role? Is it the job? Is it your employer? Is it your manager? Is it the field itself? Is it that you're not enjoying it as much anymore? You're not really excited about pen testing. You don't like studying it. What excites you about DFIR? Why do you want to switch into DFIR? Is it something where you think the grass is greener and it maybe isn't? So I would ask yourself those kinds of questions. Like nobody else can really ask you those questions or answer those questions for you. Only you can answer those questions. So you just kind of need to be honest and have a deep dive with yourself. Again, bouncing feelings off of somebody. If you've got somebody that you could talk to, I think that's important. Whether that be, a therapist, a significant other, a friend, a coworker, somebody that you can trust and talk to, I think is important. Um, and that kind of ties to this question too, which is how common are mental health issues in cybersecurity? Common. I don't know if it's like, I don't know statistics, right? Like, I couldn't tell you if it's more common in this industry than not. I think burnout is more common in this industry, which I would have to imagine ties to mental health issues as well. So I would, if you ask me to put money down on whether I think that cybersecurity on average has more mental health issues than not, then then yeah, I would say yes. I don't know statistically that's true though, so grain of salt. Um, but I would say that in terms of mental health and what drives that, it's a lot of it's burnout because of either it's not always even long hours, right? It's like you have to put in your 40 hours at work, and sometimes you have great work life balance, but then what are you doing to like study and keep up with things because cyber changes so much? That is critical, and so that's where burnout happens. Is like how do you stay on top of things? And really, it's a lot of that. So that's kind of the most common thing that I hear about. But everybody has their own reasons and things. So it's hard to say like what's incredibly common. But that would be my number one guess. Is advanced hardware knowledge essential for penetration testing? No, unless you're doing hardware pen testing, right? I'm just answering a couple of quick ones down here. I still have seven or eight. I have not heard any of the Taylor Swift album. I've seen mixed reviews on it. Not that I'm a Swiftie by any means, but I'll probably just listen to what songs trickle down to the radio or Spotify and go from there. Is help desk still a safe start if AI is going to replace jobs? Yeah, I mean, you still like you still need to understand what it is, like the basics of computing, like what it was help desk doing, right? Even if you don't ultimately get that experience, some people do skip help desk and go right into pen testing, like as a first job. Not easy to do, but people do it. Um, I'm not saying that the jobs are going to go away permanently for everybody. They're going to be more scarce, but it's still something that you need to learn and practice towards, even if you don't end up ultimately working in help desk, right? Great question. Good to see you back. Thank you. How does the demand and entry level difficulty of blue team roles compare to red team roles in cybersecurity? Blue team outnumbers red team 10 to 1. I think difficulty is subjective, right? Like what I think is easy, you may think is difficult, vice versa. So I'm not going to go into difficulty. I think on average, red team jobs are more senior than blue team jobs. Like a SOC analyst is kind of considered entry level role in cybersecurity. A pen tester job is kind of like I'd say mid tier. It's really an advanced IT job, but it's like mid tier cybersecurity, in my opinion. But blue team jobs outnumber red team jobs 10 to 1. I don't know if that's a fact, but that's how it feels, right? There's significantly more blue team jobs than red team jobs. So, my opinion, if you're looking at which one's easier to get into, I would argue blue team's easier to get your foot into before even transitioning over to the red side. Uh, All right. So you've been studying for 2 years now and try hack me, hack the box. Still feel like a beginner. How do you change that? Really, it's imposter syndrome, right? Like what you're describing. And my my common thing with imposter syndrome, what I tell people is run your own race. So you just want to be better than you were tomorrow or today. You want to be better tomorrow than you were today, essentially. And so if you've been studying for 2 years, like you need to ask yourself, what is it you're studying? Where are you finding things difficult? Are you challenging yourself more? Like are you working, were you starting on easy boxes and now you're doing medium boxes and the medium boxes are harder? That's a natural progression. I can tell you that not everything on Try Hack Me or Hack the Box is built in reality, right? Those platforms never started necessarily in reality. Try Hack Me was meant more to be kind of hand holding. Hack the Box was meant to be incredibly difficult when it first started. So, like, if you put me in front of a medium Hack the Box right now, who knows how long it would take me to solve it, and I would probably get imposter syndrome trying to solve it. Right? That doesn't necessarily equate to one-to-one practical hands-on skills for your job. What you want to do is assess yourself. Like, are you getting better? Are you getting certifications? Are you feeling more confident? Or have you gotten a role? Have you gotten an interview? How did you do in the interview? Etc. So I think like only you can really be a judge of that, but it's very common to be like we're our own worst critics. So it's very common to be hard on yourself. But ask yourself where you're at 2 years now and where you were 2 years ago. Like how much have you improved? This is a great question. How does one bounce back and get confidence after failing an exam? Yeah, so it's happened to all of us, right? Like from our standpoint, you really need to ask yourself when you fail, where do you feel like you struggled? And so, I failed a multiple choice exam once for CyberArk. That was the one I could think of, and kind of took it on a whim, didn't take it all that serious, and kind of got my ass handed to me, if I'm being honest. And so it was, hey, I really need to go back. I really need to look at the material again. Here's now that I have exposure to these questions, I'm going to kind of go back and study more where I felt like I really struggled. And you can apply the same to practical things, right? Like if you're taking a hands-on exam, where did you do well? Where didn't you do well? Typically, where people fail is on enumeration. So, how's your reconnaissance? Where did you look? Where did you maybe not look? Where did you struggle? And go from there. So I think that's like it's just hey, you need to assess where you're at and then go back and study and get that motivation back up and then take the test again. Sir Pappy saying thank you to whole TCM, Cyber Mentor to build. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's a whole team of us now. It's no individual credits and it's been great, honestly. Yeah, it's crazy to see like we started in what 2019, technically YouTube channel started in 2018 and it's been crazy to see where we started and where we're at now like from a YouTube channel to Udemy to a certification to a whole company. It's been crazy. Let's see. We've got 8 minutes. I'm gonna take a quick drink of coffee because I'm starting to lose my voice, and then I'll answer. Got a few questions still pinned. Do do. So I'm just reading these. These are a little bit longer. I've been saving some of the longer ones. If you want any pro tips to get my attention, like the shorter the question, the easier it is for me to kind of pick out from the list of questions that I have here. This is subjective again, right? Cybersecurity analyst, what type of team do you think is better to work and grow in? Red, blue, or purple? Um, you probably won't get to purple teaming until you've done red or blue. It sounds like you're already doing some blue as an analyst. So, I mean, from that standpoint, it's again, where do you feel like you're happiest and you're growing? You can grow equally in any of those areas. Again, I think starting in the blue side and moving to the red side is beneficial, but it's not the only pathway. You can jump right into red. Like I said, I was a network engineer that went into red. So it's what your pathway is for you, and I think this is a subjective question. Let's see. How's DeWalt doing? What's his role? Uh, DeWalt's doing great. DeWalt works overnights. DeWalt's always worked overnights. He's our like one of our only third shifters minus help desk, but he works on our dev team now. So I don't ask me his official title. I can't keep up with official titles, but he does a lot of programming, development, scripting for us, and he's doing great. Will there be an advanced Linux course in the future? It's not on the roadmap, if I'm being honest with you. I don't know the market for that and how that would really pan out. Not to, I guess, not to say never, but it's not something that's on the direct roadmap. Same with car hacking. I think if we ever did car hacking, it would be something where it would be a live training, and it would be something where it was specialized with or partnered with somebody that does it, right? So from my standpoint, we don't have anybody in house that specializes in car hacking. Again, could we maybe hire somebody at some point? Yeah, but more likely, what's to happen is we would hire somebody that we work with in tandem, or bring partner with somebody that work in tandem to kind of do a car hacking training. Those tend to be expensive. Like you're probably looking at like minimum 5 grand, I think, a seat, because you're going to have to be on site. You're going to have a car available and things to practice on, right? You can do some things with the CAN bus and all that other stuff, but like ultimately, you need a lot more material and it's more specialized. So I couldn't see that being a course, like standalone course in the academy or anything. Same thing, vulnerability management role certification. I just don't think the demand is there for it. Not to say that like vulnerability management's not a big area. You would more likely see a course. Like I'm a big believer in that. Like every course needs a certification. And so you may see a vulnerability management course at some point. I could totally see that being on our B2B side. Like the B2B side, at some point, will have a platform that is more geared towards like management level and things like that, like how to build a SOC, how to build a red team. You might see courses and content in that where it's really specialized in niche. But ultimately, I don't see a certification being for vulnerability management. Uh, okay, so you enjoy doing CTFs and boxes for fun. Mental fatigue makes me wary about doing a full time job. I would say that CTFs and that kind of stuff is nothing like the real world. So, like, some of it is in terms of, hey, I've got a puzzle in front of me. I need to solve this puzzle. Every puzzle is a little bit different, but I kind of know the methodology, right? It's kind of like doing a real puzzle. Like most people's strategy is, hey, I'm going to start. I'm going to work the outer edges, and I'm going to get a frame built, and then I'll start building the inside. You have your methodology. Same thing for your pen test, and it's going from there. But then you got to think pen testing is also writing reports. It's also communicating. So your day to day is a little bit different than just doing CTFs. CTFs to me are very overwhelming and burnout because like you just feel inadequate. If I'm being honest with you, you win a lot more in the real world on pen tests than you would on a CTF. CTFs are designed to be challenging. You'll have your hit or miss with pen tests of where you've got a really good puzzle, a really good challenge in front of you, and things that you're wanting to do there. So um, but yeah, great question. There's been some really good questions today, by the way. Uh, looks like we got 2 minutes left. I will just do a little bit of wrapping up. Apologies if you asked something and I didn't get to it. I kind of picked through the ones that I thought were most applicable or best for stream. But ultimately, I appreciate you all being here and asking questions. And it's been great to be back and be on stream. Again, Britt told me to plug, so I'm going to plug our upcoming live trainings. You can check that out. We've got free tier. Just released the AI course, AI fundamentals course on the free tier. I think we're up to 5 or 6 courses now. So we just need to do a network plus type course, and I think we're going to wrap it up there pretty soon. So it's been good. Free tier has been our core focus this year, which has been great. And then from there, I mean, that's really it. I see an MBA question. How did I hack the? I didn't hack the lottery. In my conspiracy theory is, of course, that there's something afoot, right? In reality, do I think that the Mavericks got just incredibly lucky? Absolutely, like absolutely, just incredibly lucky. So, because those things are audited, I think like KPMG sits there and watches and audits the numbers and all that stuff. So it's could it be rigged? Yeah, but you got a lot of people certifying and putting that behind the scenes and whatnot. So I highly doubt that it is. But the tinfoil hat in me loves the idea that yeah, you give your superstar away for peanuts, and then you get another generational, hopefully generational talent. He looks good so far, but yeah, we'll see. But yeah, it was great seeing everybody. It is 1 o'clock. I've got other meetings I've got to run to. Thank you for all the kind words and whatnots. And I see a Lambo question. Uh, I I have multiple. I would challenge you. You can OSINT me. If you OSINT me pretty well, you would actually be able to know exactly the car collection that I have. Um, a mixture of some's on social media, some's not. But if you were able to OSINT me well enough, you'd be able to find my cars pretty easily. So I'll leave that as a challenge for you, and maybe you can figure out which ones I have. But it's a good collection. All right. Thank you, everybody. It has been real, and I will see you guys on the next time I'm on stream. Should be, don't quote me, but about a month from now. I know I'm keep saying goodbye. My next stream is scheduled for November 12th, so I'll see you guys in November. Otherwise, have fun with the Andrews. Peace out, everybody.